And I believe this is the only breaker that is on a shunt trip on this unit. Everything else is fuses. And this is your load bank circuit breaker. We leave that off. We don't need to be running power during runs for obvious reasons. But during a monthly test or whatever, you turn that on, and just let me squeeze by, and you have your load bank controls right here. And nothing here works until the generator's running. It all works off the generator. Once your generator's up, you can turn your power on. You can put this, you leave it in manual, put your master load on, and you can bring it up 250 kW and run some load on it so you don't wet stack the engine. It's nice to see that.
So what does this power? Is this all life safety?
I don't know the entire layout of your building. Your life safety is on it. I believe your elevator's on it.
So it requires 30-day tests. So loaded test every 30 days. So you have to put a load on every time you test run it.
Or transfer. And I don't do building codes.
Okay. Well, no, I know that's the code that has to be done, so I just want to make sure that.
We also have our heating and cooling controls over here. I should have noticed that before because that's the thermostat for the heater. The heater gets shut off when the generator's running. In the summertime, there's a cooling thermostat, and that will actually open the louvers and turn a fan on to ventilate the room, especially like if it ran on a hot summer day for an outage or whatnot. It would automatically cool down to keep the room from getting way too hot, because now you have this big heat soak over here and everything's shut up and it was already hot to begin with. The other thing you may have noticed on the control panel, on the front of the control panel, the gray plug, that's where we plug in when we're going to use our laptop on the system to communicate with it and program or change or do just about anything you want to do to it. I can see everything within the system on that. I can see the engine and work on it, as well as see this panel and work on it, as well as see the annunciators. Some of them will have a secondary plug on the inside for the second data link. The primary data link runs the show and we don't run accessories off of it. But on this unit, I don't believe there's anything running on that second data link because we have 485 annunciators. Both of them are 485, so there's nothing on that secondary Caterpillar data link. On the opposing side of the engine, we have our air filters, which have service indicators on them. You'll see they're green, and it'll go red if you get dirty air cleaners. That's kind of far and few between. Most gens in this type of application stay very clean. You have your see-through tank, so it's like a huge sight glass for your coolant and your radiator cap up the top, and just like your car and whatnot, you'd never want to open that when we're hot. On this side of the engine, we have our water pump, our engine thermostat, both of our turbochargers and exhaust, our oil filters, and our oil cooler. We also have two sample ports here to take live samples when the engine's running. This one here is used for your oil. This one here is used for your coolant, so you can get good clean samples that are a good idea of what is actually in the engine, rather than off the dirt off a drain or sucking out to a dipstick tube. This is your oil drain on this side, and that's plumbed out to the outside. We also have our day tank controls. That's what we were testing today. There's a main tank downstairs and a day tank upstairs. We have low fuel and high fuel alarms. We actually have two low fuel alarms. Pump pumps down, and we turn on our primary pump, and that pumps the tank back up. If that pump happens to have a failure or something, it'll pump down some more, and the second pump will turn on and pump us up to the full level. If we overfill, we'll get an over. The return pump will activate, and above that level, we'll get a return lockout. And if the fuel level gets to that high and it locks out, the red light will come on, and you have to hit the button in order to reset it. So once again, like any annunciator or any other panel that you have, red lights are bad, ambers are telling you a condition, green lights are good. And all the return pump is right here, and all of the flow controls are off to the right of me. And there is a manual gauge out on that corner external on the gen set where the emergency vent is that shows you the physical level. The engine isn't air-to-air, which means that the turbocharger boosts the air and it goes out to a cooler, which is on this side of the radiator. After it comes through the cooler, it comes back and goes on. It gets cooled down, it goes back and gets put into the engine on the opposing side. So the first core that's out there is it's actually a split core. There's a core on that side that is your air-to-air cooler, and there's a core on this side that's your radiator. And if you notice down in the bottom, in the front, there's a fuel cooler in there. We only have, say, a 40 or 50 to 60 gallon tank. So as the fuel is circulating, it's going to get hot, and it's not to damage the injectors. We cool the fuel before we return it back to the tank, because that's what the fuel is doing. Besides running the engine, it's cooling and cleaning those injectors at the same time. Help is only a phone call away. We're available 24/7. And we have people that will talk with any customer on the phone just to try and help them through, because at first some of the new systems are a little bit complex, the new systems today with the panels. But as I say, this is a very nice panel, and if you can't figure out how to do it, read the screen because it'll prompt you. It's really good like that.